Late-night television took a wild and unexpected turn last night when Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett appeared on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, and what started as a routine interview quickly erupted into a full-on clash that has the internet buzzing and the political world reeling. Sources say Crockett, already known for her bold style and no-nonsense rhetoric, came ready to challenge the very foundation of Colbert's satirical empire. What followed? A confrontation that's now being called one of the most explosive moments in late-night history. Before we get into the details, let me know where you're watching from in the comments. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more unfiltered stories like this. Crockett, a former attorney and fast-rising political force, wasted no time setting the tone. Colbert opened with a jab. "Are you here to defend your record or just throw punches?" Crockett, cool and direct, responded, "Stephen, I'm here because I don't run." Then, flipping the spotlight, she asked, "How often do you dodge real issues behind a punchline?" That early exchange lit the fuse. Colbert, leaning into his comedic arsenal, played a viral clip of Crockett delivering a fiery speech on the House floor. "Impressive," he remarked. "But is there a plan behind the passion or just noise?" Without blinking, Crockett shot back. "My plan's clear to anyone actually paying attention. Maybe if you spent less time rehearsing monologues, you'd see that." From that moment on, the segment veered off script. Inside sources say producers were already getting nervous, watching two very different brands of influence collide. One rooted in media satire, the other in raw political defiance. But what's really lighting up social media isn't just the back and forth. It's how fast things unraveled. Crockett refused to play the typical smiling guest role. She didn't chuckle at Colbert's jokes. She pushed back, hard. And the host, usually cool under pressure, started to crack. By the final minutes, Colbert's trademark control was slipping. The audience was torn, some cheering, others stunned into silence. And the tension only escalated. When Colbert pressed her on poverty rates in her district, questioning whether she was spending more time fighting on camera than solving real problems, Crockett didn't hesitate. "Poverty isn't a punchline, Stephen. And pretending it is? That's the real problem." She then pivoted, pointing the spotlight back on him. "How many billionaires fund your network again?" That jab landed hard. Then came the fictional scandal. Colbert flashed a phony headline on screen, teasing a supposed ethics probe tied to Crockett's campaign. She smirked. "That's a ghost story. Try harder." Then she fired the shot that unraveled the entire segment. "What about your big pharma sponsors? Or do we not fact-check the host?" According to people close to the production, that's when panic set in. Producers scrambled to cut to commercial, but Crockett wasn't done. She kept speaking, live mic still on. "You don't get to cut away just because it's uncomfortable," she declared, voice rising. Chaos followed. Colbert, visibly flustered, tried regaining control. "This is my show," he snapped. But Crockett stood firm. "Not tonight." Clips from the segment began hitting social media before the credits rolled. TikTok, X, Instagram, millions of views in minutes. Hashtags like "Ja Crockett vs. Colbert," "Ya Mick Checkmate," and "Ya Late Night Unmasked" began trending globally. Political analysts were quick to weigh in. "This wasn't an interview," one said. "It was a takeover." Others argued it was a media stunt, an orchestrated blow-up to score headlines. But whether spontaneous or strategic, one thing is certain. Crockett didn't just flip the script. She burned it, and the drama didn't end when the cameras stopped. Sources close to Colbert's team say the atmosphere backstage was tense. One producer reportedly said, "We weren't prepared for a guest who wouldn't play along." Meanwhile, Crockett posted just one tweet. "I don't do safe, I do real. See you out there." The internet exploded again. In a single night, Crockett turned a late-night slot meant for softballs and sound bites into a national referendum on media power, political accountability, and who actually controls the conversation. The biggest takeaway? Late night may never be the same again. Colbert, visibly rattled, tried to regain control. "You're making this interesting, Jasmine," he said with a tight smile, an attempt at charm that couldn't mask the unease in his eyes. Then came the jab. "So tell us about that cozy little donor dinner with oil execs. How's that square with your For the People brand?" A doctored photo flashed behind him. The audience murmured. Crockett didn't flinch. "That's a lie," she snapped. "That was a fundraiser for my community." Then, without missing a beat, she flipped the spotlight. "You're not a journalist, Stephen. You're a salesman. So tell me, who's bankrolling your truth?" The accusation hit like a grenade. The audience erupted, half cheering, half booing. Insiders say the energy in the room shifted. Crockett stood, facing the crowd. "This is what they hide," she declared, pointing at Colbert. "The mask's off now." That's when Colbert lost it. He slammed his palm on the desk. "That's enough," he barked. "You don't run this show?" Crockett shot back instantly. "It's not your kingdom." The tension snapped. Producers waved in security. The feed stayed live. Viewers at home watched in stunned silence as Crockett refused to yield. "You don't cut away that easy," she said, voice firm. Colbert, caught on a hot mic, muttered, "Get her out." Crockett spun toward him. "You don't dismiss me." She moved toward the edge of the stage. Sources say security hesitated, unsure how to handle a sitting congresswoman live on national TV. Meanwhile, social media exploded. Analysts are calling it a rare, unscripted moment that exposed the fragility of late night's curated narrative. By the time the feed finally cut, the damage was done. But the story was just beginning. Aftermath, a media meltdown as cameras went dark. Colbert remained seated, staring blankly at his desk. His cracked coffee mug the only soundless witness to what just transpired. Behind the scenes, panic reigned. One insider described the control room as a war zone. Producers shouted over headsets, some demanding damage control, others whispering about ratings gold. Meanwhile, Crockett didn't. "Linger," she strode out, heels echoing through the corridor. 10 minutes later, she fired off a tweet. "Told y'all I don't play. You can't silence what's real." The post exploded, 50,000 retweets before sunrise. Crockett vs. Colbert and mask-off trended, globally. Clips flooded social media, both from the official broadcast and shaky phones in the audience. Millions watched. Supporters hailed her as a truth-teller. Critics called it a meltdown. But no one could deny one thing. Late night would never be the same. By morning, one viral post said it all. Jasmine Crockett didn't just speak. She broke the late night machine. It was shared over 1 million times in 24 hours. To her supporters, she wasn't just a guest. She was a reckoning. A voice too raw, too real for a format built on soft jabs and rehearsed rebellion. But critics pounced. They called her reckless, accused her of hijacking a guest spot for cheap publicity. "She turned a comedy show into a campaign stop," one op-ed sneered. Yet for millions watching, it wasn't a stunt. It was a stand. Political analysts dissected the moment like a cultural autopsy. She didn't just push back, one pundit said on Morning Roundtable. She exposed how fragile these curated spaces are when someone refuses to play along. Another added, this wasn't an outburst. It was a masterclass in media disruption, and it may redefine how politicians engage with entertainment platforms, especially bold younger figures like Crockett. Back at the Late Show, the mood was anything but triumphant. Sources say Colbert retreated to his office immediately, skipping the usual post-show recap. He was overheard muttering something about guests who think they're the star, said one insider. A rare crack in the armor of a host known for his unflappable charm. But the numbers told another story. Overnight ratings spiked 30%, the highest in months. It's a mess, but it's a gold mine, one producer admitted off record. Internally, the debate raged. Bury it or lean into the chaos. Still, Colbert's image took a hit. Pundits suggested he underestimated Crockett, expecting her to fold under his signature blend of wit and sarcasm. Instead, he found himself outmaneuvered by someone who wasn't playing for laughs. She was playing for keeps. Meanwhile, Crockett was already seizing the moment. Sources close to her say she spent the early hours fielding calls from congressional allies, eager to rally behind her. A rumored appearance on a rival network's primetime show is reportedly in the works. There's even talk she may use it to double down on her takedown of mainstream media. As for the ethics probe and fictional donor dinner, Colbert tried to weaponize radio silence, and it's working. She's letting the speculation simmer, one strategist noted. She's playing chess, not checkers, and this might be her launch pad for 2026. The broader impact is still unfolding. Media observers are calling it a wake-up call for late night, a format built on predictability, now shaken by a guest who refused the script. Some say networks will tighten vetting, others believe they'll chase the buzz, booking more firebrands to replicate the wildfire. For viewers, the fallout split the room. Half saw Crockett as a truth-teller who dismantled the smug elite facade. Half saw Colbert as a host blindsided by an ungracious provocateur. Online forums caught fire, memes of Crockett's mic drop, doctored clips of Colbert's stunned face captioned, "When your roast gets roasted." By midday, the headlines were relentless. Crockett crushes Colbert. Did late night just lose its edge? Supporters flooded Crockett's district office with calls urging her to keep going. Meanwhile, Colbert's team prepared a carefully worded statement for the next broadcast, framing it as a spirited exchange that went off script. But no statement could undo what had already taken root, a seismic shift in media politics. One moment, one voice, one viral post, and late-night TV will never be the same.